The room was quiet, the kind of silence that felt heavier than words. For a long time this moment had been avoided, pushed aside, buried under distractions. But today was different. Today it was time to speak. I am finally speaking about her. The words came out slower than expected, as if they had been waiting for permission. There was hesitation, a pause, but the truth could no longer be ignored. For so long her presence had been a secret locked away, not because of shame, but because of the weight of emotions tied to her name. Memories rushed in like waves, some gentle, some crashing with force. She wasn't just anyone. She had a way of making everything feel lighter, even on the darkest days. Her voice carried a warmth that could turn any moment into something special. It wasn't about what she did. It was simply who she was. But the hardest part, she was gone. Not in a way that meant forgetting, but in a way that made everything feel different. Life continued moving forward, yet there were pieces of her in every little thing. The morning air still carried the scent of flowers she once loved. A familiar song on the radio could bring back an entire day spent together. Even silence wasn't truly silent. It was filled with echoes of her laughter, whispers of the things she once said. There had been moments of almost speaking about her before, but something always held it back. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was the thought that saying the words out loud would make the reality even more real. But today, holding back wasn't an option. She changed everything. The words spilled out, carrying the weight of time. And even though she's not here the same way anymore, she never really left. Memories didn't fade. They became part of the heart, woven into every decision, every thought, every dream. And in that moment, speaking about her wasn't just remembering, it was keeping her alive in the only way that mattered. The silence in the room wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with her. The air felt heavier, thick, with emotions that had been buried for too long. Speaking about her wasn't just about remembering, it was about facing everything that had been left unsaid. She was different. The voice trembled slightly, but there was no stopping now. She had this way of making people feel seen, like they truly mattered. Even on days when everything felt impossible, she would find a way to bring hope. A deep breath followed, steadying the thoughts before they spilled out all at once. There were memories that didn't just live in the past, they existed in everyday moments. The way the sun set, casting that golden glow across the sky, always reminded of how she used to sit and watch it, lost in thought. The way the wind carried a soft, familiar scent, as if she had just walked by. Everything about her presence had been powerful, yet gentle. She wasn't loud, but her impact was undeniable. She didn't demand attention, but the moment she walked into a room, she became the center of it without even trying. And then the hardest part came. She deserved more time. The voice cracked, breaking under the weight of the truth. She deserved to see all the things she dreamed about. There was so much she had wanted to do, so many places she had talked about visiting, things she had hoped to accomplish, people she had wanted to help. And though life had a way of taking people too soon, she had left behind something that couldn't be erased. She left pieces of herself in everyone she met. The words were softer now, filled with a mix of pain and gratitude. And that's why she still feels so close, even when she's not here. For the longest time, silence had felt safer. Speaking about her had felt too painful, like it would break something that couldn't be fixed. But now it felt different. Now it felt necessary. There was no more fear in remembering, only love. The room felt warmer now, no longer filled with just silence, but with memories that carried their own kind of presence. Speaking about her wasn't painful anymore. It was like bringing her back, even if only through words. She never asked for much. The voice continued, steadier than before. She found happiness in the smallest things. A quiet evening, a simple meal, the sound of laughter filling the air, those were the things that mattered to her. A soft chuckle escaped, unplanned but genuine, and she had this way of making every moment special, even the ordinary ones. Sitting on a porch, watching the rain, walking down the same street 100 times, it never felt boring with her. More memories surfaced, each one weaving into the story that had gone untold for too long. The way she would stop mid-conversation just to appreciate something beautiful, like a butterfly landing nearby, or the way the light hit the trees. The way she always noticed the little things that most people overlooked. She saw the world differently. The words carried a sense of admiration. She believed in kindness, even when it wasn't easy. She believed in people, even when they didn't believe in themselves. There was a pause, not out of hesitation, but out of realization. She believed in me. That was the part that hurt the most. She had seen something worth believing in, something worth fighting for, even when no one else had. And now, she wasn't here to see what became of all those beliefs. I just hope, the voice faltered for a moment, searching for the right words. I hope I've made her proud. The thought lingered, wrapping itself around the heart like a quiet whisper. There was no way to know for sure, no way to hear her say it, but deep down, maybe the answer had always been there. Because if she were here, she wouldn't focus on achievements or success. She wouldn't care about titles or recognition. She would only care that love still remained, that her presence still meant something, that the people she touched carried her kindness forward. And in that moment, one thing became clear. She was never truly gone. The realization settled deep, wrapping around the heart like a quiet embrace. She wasn't truly gone. She was in the lessons she left behind, in the way kindness still found a way to exist, in the memories that refused to fade. She always told me something. The voice softened, repeating words that had been said countless times before, that people aren't remembered by how much they have, but by how much love they leave behind. And she had left so much. Love wasn't just in the grand gestures, it was in the smallest moments. The way she listened, really listened, when someone spoke, making them feel like their words truly mattered. The way she remembered the little details about people, the things they loved, the things that made them smile. She had this way of making people feel important. The words carried both warmth and sorrow, like they were worth something, even when they didn't believe it themselves. That was the kind of person she was. Even now, after all this time, that feeling hadn't faded. The world might have moved on, but the way she made people feel, that stayed. It was in the way conversations were held with more patience, in the way laughter still echoed in places she once stood, in the way her presence still lingered, even in her absence. She wouldn't want anyone to be sad. The voice wavered slightly. She'd want us to live, to keep going, to love the way she did. The weight of those words pressed down heavily. Living without her had never felt easy. But maybe, just maybe, the best way to honor her was to keep carrying the love she left behind, to keep speaking about her, to never let her be forgotten. The air in the room felt different now. Not heavier, but fuller, as if her presence still lingered in the very act of remembering her. She always said that love isn't about holding on to someone physically. The voice continued, steady but filled with emotion. It's about carrying them forward in everything you do. Those words had once been just a comforting thought, something she had said in passing, never realizing how much they would come to mean. But now they felt like a guide, a way to move forward without letting go. She had given so much, not just in words, but in actions. The way she made time for people, the way she saw beauty in things others ignored, the way she made life feel lighter, even on the hardest days. She lived in a way that mattered. The voice carried admiration now, stronger than sorrow. Not because of what she had, but because of what she gave. And maybe that was the lesson in all of this. It wasn't about grief, it wasn't about sadness, it was about remembering, about living in a way that honored her kindness, her love, her warmth. She wouldn't want to be remembered with tears. A soft breath followed, steadying the heart. She'd want to be remembered with love. That love hadn't disappeared. It was in the way people still spoke about her, in the quiet moments where memory surfaced, in the way kindness was still passed forward because of her. She's still here. The words came with certainty now. Not in the way I wish, but in the way that truly matters. And that was enough. The words hung in the air, settling deep into the heart. Speaking about her wasn't just remembering, it was keeping her alive in the only way that mattered. She believed that as long as love existed, no one was ever truly gone. The voice softened, recalling something she had once said, and I think she was right, because she was still here. In the laughter that filled the spaces she once stood in the quiet moments where her voice seemed to echo, not as a memory but as a feeling, in the choices made with kindness, because that's what she would have done. She left a piece of herself in everyone she met. The words carried warmth now, not just sorrow, and that's why she'll never fade. For so long the fear had been that time would erase her, that with each passing day she would become nothing more than a distant thought. But that wasn't true. She had woven herself into the lives of so many, and that kind of love didn't disappear. She taught me that love isn't measured by time. The voice continued, steady now. It's measured by how deeply it's felt, by how much it changes you. And she had changed everything. There would always be moments of longing, moments of wishing she was still here in the way she once was. But now, those feelings were mixed with something else, gratitude. Because to have known her, to have been loved by her, was something rare. She wouldn't want sadness, the voice whispered, almost as if speaking to her directly. She'd want us to keep going, to keep loving, to keep remembering. And so, that's what would happen. Not just today, not just in words, but in every single moment that love was chosen over anger, kindness over indifference, hope over despair. That was how she would live on.